Hey, Brian Parker here with another exciting interview. This is Caroline Lee's story about how she climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. And it's quite the story. You're going to love this. So this is what's it like to climb Mount Kilimanjaro? What's it like to climb Mount Kilimanjaro?
Relentless.
Relentless. I love that. So we're going to be talking today and hopefully touching upon the following things, like it's a history lesson or something, but some of the things we're going to touch upon is how is climbing Kilimanjaro like life in building a career, raising a family, getting through hard times? Does one hallucinate at certain heights on the mountain? Did this climb change your view of your life and the world around you? And this is the thing I got today. Did it redefine words for you? Like how, when we say, hey, I trust you. But I imagine when you're up in that situation, the people you're depending upon, the word trust is very heavy and a changing definition for you. Maybe love, the definition of love, the definition of relationships may be changed. I don't know. We'll find out. The expression is, with age comes wisdom. Does an adventure like this at your youthful age, does it change not only you, but the perceptions of others about you? And then the most important question that people have asked me to ask Caroline, what if nature calls while you're climbing up the mountain? So here we go. So Mount Kilimanjaro, 19,341 feet, the tallest freestanding mountain in the world, correct me if I'm wrong, located in the northeastern of Tanzania, is that correct?
Very good, yes. The continent of Africa.
It's just 200, oh my goodness, it's hot. 205 miles from the equator. What month did you go?
I was in December.
Oh, is it still hot in December? That close?
Down as you go up, the temperature changes.
All right.
Down below, sweltering, up atop, freezing.
It's one of 7 summits, the highest peak, and it's the highest peak on the African continent. It has a dominant volcano made up of 3 volcano cones. Correct me again. Kaibo,
yep.
Mawenzi,
yep.
and Shira.
Yes.
The name Kilimanjaro combines the Swahili word for mountain and the Chagga word.
The
Chagga word for whiteness. Now, you're a teacher by profession, a professor, is that correct?
Yes.
That's why I'm asking you. Let's ask a couple more questions. Let's put this delicately, but you're not a shrinking violet, obviously. You were 61 years old.
Correct.
Most people at 61 are thinking about slowing down. What made you think, I'm going to climb a mountain in Africa?
Well, first of all, I've been very athletic all my life. I've done Ironman and marathons, and I run and I bike and I swim, and I'm generally on the move the whole time.
I'm already tired. Keep going.
Yeah, tell me, saying it just makes me exhausted. But I thank God that every day my body is ready for action. And when I turned 60, and it was my 61st year, I thought to myself, I don't want to be an old lady. And I need to challenge the body that I've been given. I need to challenge my heart, my lungs, and I need to also not say, right, this is it, game over. I'm in my 60s. That's it. Let's get the Medicare and start the retirement. I wanted to almost renew myself. So this was a feeling of, let's see if I've still got it in me. Let's see what the human body can do.
Well, I'm always fighting my DNA and my perception of myself. I still think I can do what I used to do at 25. Did you think you could still do what you did at 25?
Yes.
Why?
In fact, I think more.
Why?
Because at 25, you're given youth. Youth is a wonderful thing. Once you reach into a certain age, everyone says wisdom is the what you have then. I want it all. I want the wisdom because I realize when I run marathons or I do Ironman, physically I'm able, but for me, the hardest part is the mental agility.
Was there wisdom that you gained in climbing this mountain?
Absolutely. Physically, it wasn't challenging for me because I was prepped for it. But mentally, sleeping in a tent on the side of a mountain, night after night, that, was frozen in the morning and you had to crack yourself out. Certain things like, just home comforts.
Who was the first person you told that you'd be climbing a mountain in Africa?
Well, it was my husband.
And what's his name?
My husband is Dr. Edward Lee, who we've just celebrated our 40th wedding anniversary.
And what did he say?
And he said, okay. He said, what does this entail? Where do you go? Who organizes? He asked all the
Is that his reaction to everything?
No. Well, he's a scientist. He's a physician. And so it's a case of, again, you've got the practicalities and you've got the science and you've got the organization, but then you also have the worry. And he says, really? Are you going to stay alive? Are you going to do this? Because he said, well, some people don't make it, but he knows that I'm physically fit. And he knows that I can do this.
Because though he is peripherally very close to you in your relationship, probably amongst you and your kids and your family, one of the most important voices that you'll listen to, did that put any doubt into your thinking about making this trip? Prior to making this trip, did you ever say, whether it was Dr. Lee or not, did you say to yourself, oh my goodness, alone, what have I done?
No, not at all. Not at all. And the reason being, I did my Google research, as one does, and I found a company which takes a different route that most of the companies take. This is, I don't know if I'm able to say the name on air, but if not, edit it out, Mountain Travel Sobeck, and they will go to the least crowded area. They are the safest. Theirs is the journey and not the destination. Most of the companies that I investigated, they go up in the night, like 2:00 in the morning. And I've spoke to a few of my husbands up the mountain,
Mm-hmm.
and literally from almost base all the way up in one night. And it's horrendous because there's no acclimatization, there's no thought for what the lungs can take. Mountain Travel Sobeck do a gradual ascent, and with the ascent, one goes up and then sleeps down. The next day, go up, come down a little, so that the body has a chance to acclimatize, the lungs have a chance to expand. There's none of this in the middle of the night, run up there, vomiting, headaches, needing oxygen, not making it. And so I really, really researched this company. And
what about researching on what you had to do to prepare for this? Because Florida is pretty flat. I think the highest point is 295 Expressway.
Well, that's definitely a challenge. But again, thank God for Google and also for the company, actually.
So what'd you do?
So what did I do? I always go to the gym. I'm a bit of a gym rat. And I put the treadmill up onto 15, which is the highest it will go. And if I can use a prop, I bought this handy dandy mask, not advertising, of course, but I don't think I ever wanted to see it again, but I guess I'll look at it. Oh, you know what? I didn't put it in here. I am so sorry, but let me show you that I should have checked.
What is this you're showing?
Okay, so this mask is pretty fabulous. So you wrap it around your head, like this, and then every week or so, you change the valves. So there are valves which let in full oxygen. So you're on there in the first week, it's completely open and you're breathing and you're breathing and you're breathing. And as the weeks go by, you change out these little filters. So less and less and less oxygen is coming in. So what you're having to do is work much, much harder, which over a long period of time expands the lung capacity. Now, it's a temporary fix because obviously you can't keep on expanding and hope it's going to stay that way. But I used to dread it because I'd put it on and initially I felt very claustrophobic and I was sucking wind. Towards 3 months, which was when the trip was, I did this for about 3 months. I was on the highest inclination on the treadmill. I had a backpack on. I had my hiking boots and I had this mask closed to minimum hole so that the smallest amount of oxygen was coming through. So I was depriving myself of oxygen.
To get ready for this.
So what I was doing was expanding my lungs. I felt incredible. I felt hyperoxygenated.
When you weren't covered.
When I wasn't covered, I was running and doing and faster times and bolstered. I'm sure my eyes were popping out
So
of
you
my
didn't
head.
go to like Colorado or something like
No,
that.
no,
You
not
did
at
it all
all.
here.
I did it all here because this is where my family is and this is where my life is.
Are you
And
allowed to say how much the trip cost?
yes, yes. I mean, if you go onto a mountain travel Sobek, so I back then, which I believe it was, when was it? 2021-ish, I want to say. I'm 20, I'm going to be 65 this year, so do the math. So that's
All right,
about right.
all right.
Yes.
You look better than
It
me.
was about, I want to say about $6,000 plus airfare. Now, I had all the gear because we're hikers and climbers and we're always outdoorsy, so I didn't have to actually buy any equipment. At the end of the trip, one is expected to give the guides a tip, so that added on a few hundred.
Is there 15%, 20%? What's the rule over
Well,
there?
it's very interesting. You know, it's funny that you should say that. Actually, it's what you want.
Mhm.
And there was one main guide, two side guides, and then believe it or not, for each traveler, there are 10 Sherpas,
What does that mean?
10 people per person carrying all the gear that we would need. So the trip was quite small, actually. We were 5. So that's 50 people traveling with us.
How many people were there in your group?
That's 5. 5
Just
of us
the
in our
5 of
group.
us.
5 of us in our
All right.
group. And then, so for each person, when we arrived at the base of the mountain, there are literally hundreds of people waiting. And these are all porters. Sadly, agriculture that particular time of year was null and void. The rainy season was November. The rains never came. And this is an agricultural society. They grow their own food. That's how they live. Because there were no rains, the government was giving stipends, but these people needed work. And so they all come to the base of the mountain and they wait to be chosen as guides on a trip.
How do you know which one to choose?
We don't choose them. No, we don't choose them.
Who chooses
There
them?
are leaders. So Mountain Travel Sobek has the guides who they've had for 20 years, 15 years. They're the heads of the trip. They make all the decisions. They know the people on the ground and they know who's the worker. What shocked me was the level of poverty. I mean, we were dressed for the trip. We had our smart wool socks and our pump, what is it? North Face jackets, and we had our, Arc'teryx this and you name it. They had plastic bags for socks, flip-flops. I mean, the dichotomy was shocking. We were the wealthy tourists, and that
Did you feel like you had to kind of make a bridge with them to say, hey, I know I'm rich and everything, but I'm a nice person. I'm going to treat you respectfully?
I have to tell you, it wasn't even an issue because I almost felt in a kind of a first world, third world way that we were helping them out because they weren't able to have their usual agriculture. So this was tourism.
I think I read somewhere that you actually leave all your clothes for them.
I left them everything. I left them everything, even though I'm, the size of a small child. They have children. And we became friends with them. Friends as much as one can be. But definitely, I mean, I left them all my hand warmers. They had no gloves.
When I convince myself to do something and it's either a good idea or it's not, but once I go, I can do this, I have to be, you'd sent me an email and you titled it Relentless. And I'm sort of the same way. And I don't believe if you have a plan A, you do justice to plan A if you have a plan B, a fallback position. What would you think about that?
In life, I always tell myself, my students, my children, have a plan A, B, C, and D. But in this particular case, because I'd done the research, I was picked up at the airport. I've never been picked up at the airport in my life with a sign that said Lee. And I was taken to, where I was supposed to be. I did not have to think for myself. I did not have to worry. I did not have to navigate the streets of, what was the place we were in? Oh, it'll come to me and we'll have to edit that bit in. But it's very primitive. It's
Okay.
very primitive. There's shacks everywhere. There's people selling
So
things
what's
on
your
the
point B?
streets. My point is, I didn't need a plan B because Arusha, that's right. We were in Arusha, and the airport in Arusha doesn't even have, there's no, they just wheel steps to the airplane. It doesn't even have like a, little gangway that you go down. They literally wheel the steps.
Yeah, they have that same airport in Gainesville.
Right, exactly. But this was, someone's mama was like wheeling the steps, and then you come down, and then you go into, there's no baggage claim carousel. They just have a wooden table, and it's so primitive that you have to have trust in the people who take you. And I had ultimate trust. Was I a fool? Probably. But did it work out well? 100%.
Yeah, and that goes back to what I thought about when I was contemplating doing this interview with you. There are some words in our language that, if you will, we use in the first and third world that were redefined. And trust had to be, you're trusting your life.
Yes.
And that's a heavy weighted word. We can trust someone to make our sandwich well for us, but you're now trusting someone who you've never met before.
Yeah.
You're trusting that somebody else who's really only real relationship with you is the money you paid for the trip to make the right decision so that you live.
100%. And what was one thing that brought that trust was also on the day that we arrived. I arrived a couple of days early, and I added on a safari with these people.
Why?
Why? Because I wanted to acclimatize. I didn't want to just land and
Personally,
go up the mountain.
as well, with the
Personally,
people?
I also, yes, I wanted to, again, establish a relationship a little bit, to feel the situation out. Not that I had any doubt, but so I did the couple of days, and then we went to this, it was gorgeous. It was like a glamping situation. It was a tent in the middle of Arusha National Forest.
That's in Tanzania?
In Tanzania, yeah.
Okay.
Arusha's the capital, actually. And then we had it wasn't just, right, let's go up the mountain. We had an in-service. And that, to me, was the moment when I realized I'm in incredible hands. And the
What's an in-service?
An in-service is, we're going to look at your gear. We're going to make sure you have everything. We're going to talk to you about the problems that could occur. We're going to talk to you about what you should look for in how you feel, certain things, certain signs, certain symptoms, talking about food, talking about bathroom, talking about all of the issues which are living issues, boots on the ground issues that we need to clarify so that when the time arrives and we're on our journey, you feel safe and we feel safe taking you.
So take me through the first day. I guess I shouldn't say, on the mountain. What was the first step like?
Okay. Well, first of all, in our little pre-lecture, we were given, there was a big map.
This is the in-service
This
again?
is the in-service.
Yeah.
So, in fact, the flight was from Jacksonville to JFK, JFK to Amsterdam. So I lost days. I didn't know what day it was or anything. And then Amsterdam it was supposed to be Entebbe, and they changed it. And then finally we arrived in Tanzania, picked up, taken to the hotel, or to the glamping, I should say.
What's glamping?
Glamping is glamorous camping. So it's a tent, but in it is a real bed, a toilet, 2 sinks. So it's an apartment under canvas.
Okay.
But it's not brick and mortar.
Okay.
And then I went on my 2-day safari, and then everybody arrived. We had our in-service. We were told, we laid out our gear. They came and checked us. We went in a Jeep, and they took us to the base of the mountain. We were explained about the different terrains. That was in our in-service. And what's very interesting is we had to start off with medication for malaria, because we were starting off in a very hot and humid and green landscape where there's tsetse fly, which can cause sleeping sickness, and there's mosquitoes and all sorts of things. And then,
so did you have to lather up every day with?
No. We took. I was completely covered anyway, because that's how I hike. So I wear very unattractive big hat and long
Is
pants
there
and
room
long
for
sleeve.
dating while you're on the mountain?
No dating.
Okay.
No. Everybody's looking. I also wear my birth control hat, which
Okay.
is so ugly that no one's going to date me.
Okay.
And I do have a husband, but beside the fact. Anyway, so, and then we arrived at the mountain and we met our people who were going to be our guides, who were going to be our porters, and we started up. And as one starts up, it's just like walking through a beautiful jungle. It's quite flat, very slow incline, slight incline.
So you're thinking, oh, I can do this.
And there's monkeys, and there's
Really?
toucans, and there's strange lizards, and there's all sorts of animals and fauna and flora. And the great thing about the guides is they say all the names of the flowers or the names of the things that you're seeing. And you're just chugging on your, you have your backpack with your water in it. And I put a little electrolyte in there and you're chugging away and you're going up and you're going up. And then you realize that, oh, I'm actually on the mountain. Because I would say, oh, is that the mountain over there? And there's no, well, you're actually on the mountain.
By the way, English speaking or?
All English speaking. They speak Swahili.
Okay.
And every now and then they'll break into some song and they'll start clapping.
So how do you communicate as easy as you just?
They speak English. All of them speak English, some more basic than others. But again, have they learned from the tourists or did they learn at school? I'm not sure.
So when did reality set in of the decision you made? What level?
So I think that about 3 zones up.
So the zones are rainforest, moorland, alpine desert, Arctic.
Right.
Am I missing?
Alpine desert is when you start to realize that, oh, I'm getting to the cold bits now.
So the higher you go up, the less vegetation, less oxygen.
Very good. So every night, just maybe switching gear a little bit, they would put a pulse oximeter on us to see how much oxygen saturation we had. You want to be at 99. You're probably about that 98, 99, whatever. And if you go below, like into the 80s or the 70s, they will make you go down, maybe spend
permanently,
a few days, and then start up again and catch up. Or if you feel sick, you have a headache, you start feeling a bit weird. They told us all the different things.
Did you go through any of that?
You know what? I didn't actually.
Because of your training?
Because I really worked hard. I have to say, I mean, I'm not being boastful, but I'm a very type A person. And if you tell me I have to do this, I will do it religiously because I didn't want to get sick and I wanted to achieve this and I wanted to enjoy it.
You were a plan A person.
Definitely a plan A. I was going to do this. When I say relentless, sometimes some people on the trip, I'm also a little intolerant. And sometimes the people slowed me down a little bit. There was one girl she kept getting cold and she was very cold and she was crying. But I gave her my hand warmers because I brought hand warmers with me. And she was fine. Her father was fabulous. Her father was, come on, we're going to do. And he was the one that but then he got sick. And then there was another guy who was a mountain man.
What does getting sick mean?
He was throwing up. His head was killing him.
At what level?
Pretty near the beginning.
Already?
Yeah, already, because I don't know. Sometimes do you not think the anticipation of something will also play into that? The nervous energy, the adrenaline. But I'm a very I'm going on a run. I'm going to run a marathon, and it's just slowly, steady. I'm not like, I got to be the first one up there. I'm not competitive, but I just want to get her done, So I think I was in a very much more relaxed place. So what happens is the first few nights in the tents were lovely because it was warm and we had it in the tent. And, you asked me about bathroom. I always bring with me, and I don't know how graphic you want me to get, but I always bring with me biodegradable toilet paper.
So you, at some point, can need, at whatever level you're in, the need to what nature calls.
Right.
How
so let me
does
explain.
that work out?
So it's a very tricky one because you have to hydrate. And so obviously you have to use the bathroom. So you just go behind a rock. You can't worry about it. And what's kind of comic, almost comedic, is like everyone's like, oh, excuse me. And they'll just go behind a rock and everybody will turn around, So you just get on with it. When it got harder, At night, there was even a porter who would carry up, his job was to carry the latrine. And it was a chemical latrine, which he emptied out. And, it was like a little tent, which was fine as we were going up. But as it got colder, and you just got into your sleeping bag, and I would throw hand warmers in my sleeping bag, and I would bundle up. And because of the altitude, it's very difficult to sleep. And you've got all these things running through your mind and the thoughts.
Why is it difficult to sleep?
Because of the altitude. Altitude suppresses the appetite, so you don't want to eat very much. It also suppresses the need for sleep. You're kind
So
of.
do you have to force yourself to eat?
You have to force yourself to eat. You have to force yourself to sleep. Now, can you imagine? You've just got cozy, and then you think, "Uh-oh, I need to use the bathroom," and that was a difficult one, because then you're laying there thinking, got to get out of this sleeping bag.
So
and
what's
I've got
the
to go.
temperature at that point?
Oh, it's dropping to such an extent that as you get near the top, by morning, your tent is completely frozen. You have to kind of hit it with your pole.
So you have to get dressed up again.
Yes.
Again, this is without being rude, but the myths are that, hey, if you ever are caught in a snowstorm and you've got a sleeping bag, it's better to take all your clothes off and sleep like that as opposed to having clothes on.
Right.
Is that true?
Well, I don't know, because I didn't have to reach that level. I was in a tent, and what happens is the porter goes up ahead of you, and he erects all the tents, and he puts a ground sheet down, and you have like a little entranceway. So what you do is you leave your boots and you leave your poles in the entranceway. You climb in and you get into your sleeping bag, which is top-notch sleeping bag. It goes down to in the minuses. It's a very, very fancy sleeping bag. Also, you can sleep in your clothes. I mean, showering, no. Washing, no. But you've got all quick dry clothing.
So you're not washing the whole way up.
What you do is, I bought big baby wipes with me, water wipes, and you do a cursory wash down.
But we're all doing it. You're all doing it.
We're all doing it. And, we're not going on a date. There's no dinner that we're all sitting down for, and we have to be refined, But you don't actually get sweaty either, because even though you're on the move the whole time, because you're wearing very good wicking clothing, you don't get smelly and sweaty. And then it gets colder and colder and colder. There's no vegetation.
So when you, again, finish the story,
yes.
You have to go to the bathroom. So now you've got to get clothes on to go outside.
Well, I didn't really take very much off. I put more on, actually.
All right.
So when I went to bed, I would take off my outer jacket, and I had this big furry, kind of fleecy thing that I put on, and a hat and double socks.
And how far away from your living quarters?
It's a few yards.
Is there men and women?
No. It's like one fits all, Okay. And it's funny because it's so irrelevant. And it's actually a very good lesson that we are human beings and we are running through human natural ablutions.
Well, it's also the beginning of perhaps a perspective leveler.
Yes.
What we think is important in the first or third world
100%
strips away. It's one of many things that probably stripped away to you.
Yes. And the human condition becomes raw. The human condition becomes real. I don't care if you're a man or if you're a woman. We all need to stay warm. We all need to eat well. We all perform our ablutions. And I think that's actually kind of the first time that I've really thought about that, actually, because nobody really cared. Nobody was trying to impress anyone.
Another thing I thought of, and I'm jumping ahead because my brain, I think when I learned about this trip that you made, it changed the way I looked at you. You weren't a professor. You weren't Mrs. Lee. You are the lady that climbed Mount Kilimanjaro.
Right.
Why?
What was the, now I'm asking you a question. Tell me, did you see me as obviously it's not a better, worse, but what was the component of me that changed?
You're the only one that I've met. You're very unique. And I am drawn to task-driven people that set a goal. That's my nuttiness.
Right.
But that's me. But my question is, you are accomplished. Teacher, professor, couple of master's degrees.
Yeah.
the ironic part of that is this great accomplishment, but isn't it in a way discounting who you are by that great label when you've got so many things that make up you? Do you ever get that feeling, hey, once you
Is there
ask,
one thing that defines us, though? I mean, perhaps, you might say, oh, this is impressive. But I'll tell you something. I think that there are a lot more people out there who are doing themselves a disservice who could possibly do what I did. I have to tell you, and honestly, it's money, it's time, and it's physical and mental ability. And I do believe that there are a lot of people who maybe reach a certain age or reach a time in their life and say, right, now I'm just going to exist. I'm going to plateau out. Why? Why do we have to plateau? Why can't we keep on keeping that curve rising and rising? So I don't feel that I'm unique. I feel that I'm driven to keep on reinventing myself.
would your feelings about why people do what they do or don't take that chance, do you think all that would change if we were able to fully enforce a sense of our own mortality in people so they know they're going to die? Do you think that would change how people take risks?
Oh, 100%. But then unfortunately, sometimes, the wisdom comes when we are not perhaps at the peak of our physical, financial well-being. So how many people would take advantage of that?
Well, maybe might say that if you are aware of your mentality at an early age, it's balls to the walls. You're going to take risks you would never take because no risk, no reward. And as I'm talking to you, I'm thinking, here she is, possibly subjecting herself to an end of her life, the higher you get for many reasons. And yet the thing that drove her is also probably a sense of her own mortality. You're heading
Yeah.
towards the thing that puts you there. Is that a true
That's
statement?
very interesting. I didn't think of it like that, although it's very funny you say that because, I realize now, thank God, we're grandparents and we're going to have some more children. And I always thought of my parents and my great grandparents. And I'm thinking, well, they're not around anymore. I'm next in line. And so
To do what?
to be the one who's not going to be here anymore. Right.
Mhm.
So that I did not consider that until recently when we started having grandchildren. And then I realized, well, hang on a minute. This is the story repeating itself, but it's not my parents and it's not my grandparents. It's me.
Yeah, because we talk about the grandparents and the great. You're
They're
going to be the one they're talking about.
I'm going to be that old, that
Mhm.
little old
And what's
Mrs.
the
Lee.
story?
What exactly? But I did not consider mortality when I was doing the climb. I did not consider it. Wasn't
At
even
no time you feared
at
you're
no
dying?
time. Because when first of all, I don't know if I mentioned, but they carry with them the porters. They carry a bariatric chamber. So let me explain briefly if this is part of it, but it looks like a giant backpack that one of the porters has on his back. And God forbid you get up to a certain point and you're dying, you can't breathe. Number one, they'll give you oxygen, but also while they're giving you oxygen, they will encase you in this it looks like a big rubber bag with a zipper, and they carry you stretcher style down the mountain. And inside this bag, oxygen is being pumped. So it's an assimilation that you are lower than you really are, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So as they're running you down the mountain, you are as if you're already far down the mountain. And then they also at strategic points have helicopter pads. And that's all included in your insurance. And so the helicopter will come and take you in this chamber that has an assimilation that you're right down the mountain.
So they really
They
want
got
to
you
increase
covered.
your chances
Yes.
to make the top.
Yes. And to get you there and back alive and in an enjoyable way.
Do people die on that mountain?
I don't believe they die, but I believe that some of them don't make it. Some of them are very, very sick and therefore they don't enjoy the experience. Some of them, I don't know. I honestly don't know what the numbers are.
I know that you've sort of flirted with the idea of going up to Everest.
Well, I just finished, actually a year ago, I went to Base Camp Everest
For what reason?
because it was something that I was curious about.
I bring that up because I'm told, and the reason I asked that question about Kilimanjaro is if you die at a certain point in Everest, they leave your body up.
Correct. Well, let me explain. It's very different. First of all, Everest is higher. Believe it's, if you'll check your notes, but I believe it's like 25,000, something like that. With Everest, I would never attempt to go past Camp 2, which is where we got to. First of all, again, the weather was against us. But secondly, after that, oxygen is needed, climbing skills are needed. And these are technical climbing skills. I do have technical climbing skills, but not for the endurance that it would take to get up Everest. Also, climbing Kilimanjaro was fabulous because we finished the climb for that day. And then he said, right, now we're going to go another half an hour past at where we're camping. So we'd set camp, we go up half an hour, sit there for 5-10 minutes, and then come down. And that would be our acclimatization. With Everest, you go up and you have to sit there for about a week.
What?
Yes, so it's very different. It's technical climbing. It's, yes, you can lose your life because if there's a change in the weather, then you can literally, it happens in 2 seconds.
And they leave you up there most of the time?
Well, they do because I guess it costs money to bring you down and they got to find you. There's definitely a lot of waste with the oxygen tanks being thrown around. And once they're empty, they get rid of them. No, I'm definitely not kamikaze. And I trust very much. I went again with Mountain Travel Sobek to Everest. And there
How
was,
long after Kilimanjaro?
I think it was about 2 years, I want to say.
Do you have to train again?
Yes, but not as intensely because it is a slower, less steep ascent. Also, at the end of Kilimanjaro, we camped where nobody usually camps. It was a camp that they just have. And then from there, we had to wait till midday because the weather was so horrific. And at midday, the sun came up and there was technical climbing because it was ice and snow up to the summit. Very little time spent.
What zone is that you're in?
That's the Arctic. There's no greenery, nothing. It looks like a it's glacial.
So it's rainforest, again, moorland. What is moorland, if you know?
Moorland is the shrubs are getting lower.
Okay.
Yes.
And then alpine
Alpine
deserts?
is you've got very few and you're getting snow and you're getting cold.
So Arctic is where you start your trek to the summit.
Yes, exactly. And one other thing I will mention, after the first and middle of the second layer, one stops taking the malaria tablets and switches to the altitude tablets. I want to say it's called, begins with a D, Dimoxil, I believe it's called, which again helps with the expansion of the lungs, helps with the thinning oxygen.
Why are you taking malaria tablets the whole way up?
You're not taking the whole way up. You stop about the middle of the second day because of all the greenery and the mosquitoes are in that greenery. It's a tropical, it's a tropical climate. And then you switch as you go, you stop because there's no bugs up there. There's no, you know.
Are there
mosquitoes.
any animals you saw?
Very few, no, really nothing actually. Sometimes you'll see a few odd birds. But once you're getting really high, you'll see there's no life. There's no life. You'll see it's very glacial. It's like the surface of the moon. It's cold. It's so cold.
Do people leave candy wrappers or a note that says, I was here, or anything show you human?
No, I believe that it's a well-worn trail because of tourism. Any litter that we had has to come down with us, even food scraps.
So you had a great respect for what
because if there's a candy wrapper, you're going to see it because there's nothing else there. There's no color. So if I've had something with an orange wrapper, it's going to stand out, really blaringly.
So there's barren at this point.
Barren.
No plants, nothing.
Nothing. And towards the end, we were having to use ice picks and pulling ourselves up and steep.
Had you done upper body strength training?
Yeah, I mean, you have to have. Again, one of the girls on the trip and one of the guys on the trip, they were finding it difficult, but they did it slowly. And in fact, very, very, I learned some Swahili, which was pole, pole, which I thought meant pole, pole, pole. No, it meant slowly, slowly. Because if you tried to rush, you couldn't talk. You felt your heart jumping, jumping, jumping in your chest. And all you had to do if that happened was stop, breathe deeply, slow down. And this happened a few times to everybody because we thought we were infallible until we realized that it's not us, it's the atmosphere.
Did the line of ascent ever change? Meaning one day you were the first up, another day that gentleman or his daughter was ahead of you, or did the amount of the people position change?
The position stayed the same because, again, I'm extremely bossy person, and I'm always going to
And
be
they
in
knew
the
that
front.
about you. Yeah,
I know
okay.
that happened to Everest as well. Actually, my main goal was to stay behind the leader because I wanted to put my feet in his footprints. I didn't want stray things.
You never stop thinking about what you're doing.
You cannot stop thinking. That's why I say it was relentless in the way that you can't take a break mentally. Now, physically, one guy was always at the end. The two were always in the middle. So there must have been four of us, actually. And then there was me.
Do you have a voice in your head that you're always listening to?
I didn't need it. Although I didn't need it to say, keep going, because I knew if I stayed right behind the leader and I kept up with the leader, there were times when I had to stop and say, breathe, Lee, breathe. Because my chest was going, fudong, fudong.
What about this other myth? And I'm glad you're here to get rid of these silly myths, or from TV or movies. Was there a instruction, don't look down?
No, in fact, we sometimes stopped and looked down because it was so beautiful.
But I kind of get what you're saying about getting your foot in the leader, putting your feet where he has tread already.
Yeah.
The leader was a he?
It was a he, yeah.
And that tells me a focus and don't look just a blinding, like put blinders on. So especially running, if I have to go, I try to take my mind off the fact that how much I got to do, and inch by inch, anything's a cinch.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, because it's such a vast mountain, you're not totally cognizant of that you're going up gradually as well, and the width. And sometimes he would move to the side because maybe it was too rocky, or too snowy, and so I would move to the side. So it wasn't like you were sort of
Was there an alternate
down.
path you could have taken?
He created the path.
Okay, so you had no choice but to follow him.
Because of the snow, because of the ice, because of the rocks. Don't forget, it's a volcanic structure. Rocks are falling all the time. When we got towards the kind of middle to top section, we wore hard hats because you never knew. He would say, look over there, rocks, there's avalanches, because it's a dynamic rock.
Just rocks or snow? Or
rocks, snow. We didn't even know what it was. There were boulders, there was gravel.
Could you feel it on the ground as it was passing by?
You could see it, you could hear rumblings. But they're so in tune. I mean, this is their life. They are so in tune. They know we're going to move to this side, we're going to go up this path today, which for me was fantastic. Because
was there a trigger where you go, uh-oh, avalanche, and then they trained you to act a certain way every time?
No, because they didn't give us that responsibility. We weren't trained. All we had to do was follow them, our complete trust. And the thing is, it wasn't like when we go hiking, you follow the trail. There was no trail to follow.
There's that word trust again.
Trust beyond, especially when you get higher. Down below, you can follow the trail. All of a sudden, there's no trail.
Did you bring home and keep, if you will, your new definition of what trust means?
That's a very interesting question. I have to say that I've never really had to put my trust in anyone, apart from physicians when I'm having a baby or something like that. Or if you have surgery, you have to put your trust in a surgeon.
You've never really fully trusted someone before this
My
trip?
husband, probably. My
And that's
husband
why
is
he's
the
your
only
husband.
one. Yeah,
And
and
so
that's why.
there's a very limited amount of people in your trust circle.
Yes, absolutely.
And so that actually, does that make it harder to trust further as you go on in life, given that new definition of trust?
I think that I'm always cognizant of covering my back. I'm never normally, I mean, when I fly on an airplane, obviously my trust is in the pilot, but I don't waver and worry should I get on the plane. I trust professionals. I trust the people who are the real deal. If you've done the course of study, if you've practiced the course of study, if you've proven yourself in the course of study, I have no reason not to trust you.
So in your upbringing as a child, was there any great trauma that shaped your way you look at trust or trusting people?
No, except it's funny you should say that because I think, I was brought up in London in
Me
a
too.
yeah, in a small community where we walked to school and
Yep.
parents and siblings and etc. And then really it was only when I got married that I left London and we started traveling the world and going to places and working in different places and doing things. So I think that I always had my husband there. So there was my rock and my defender.
Who was your rock before that?
I think it was my parents, maybe.
And so they.
So that was probably, I never really sort of had an in between. Even in college, I lived at home because that's what you do in London.
Mhm.
In London, you live and usually you're born and you die there. I was the first of my family to leave. My brother and sister are still there in the same neighborhood, in the same home.
Yep.
I think that's what probably makes most Americans different is in the fact that everybody travels and moves around and it's not a big deal. So when you say trust, when I found this company, I listened very carefully. I did my research. I did my homework. I asked questions and I shut up and I followed. And I think that is, and I didn't try and do anything fancy or try and change things. I bought what they told me. I packed what they told me.
By your own admission, you're more of a leader than a follower.
Definitely, but not in this sense.
That's very interesting.
And I have to say, it's incredibly difficult for me to let go.
But was it difficult this time?
No, because I didn't know the terrain. I have no background knowledge.
So let's get to you make the summit. Is that the correct way to say you've landed?
You
at the
summit.
top?
You summit. You summit.
So
yes, I think
did you
it's
summit?
a noun or something. I summited.
And
yes, actually,
take us through the last 20 feet and then the summit.
Right. Very challenging. Very challenging. So we had a camp in this area and we stayed there overnight. And then we would get up early in the morning, break camp and get going early. This time, it was actually the 25th of December. And we were told we're not moving until about 11 because we wanted the sun to come up. Also, you have to appreciate a glacier.
What do you mean you wanted the sun to come up at 11?
We wanted the sun to warm the glacier a little bit that it made it more climbable. Otherwise, it's the hardest ice and the freezing weather. We wanted full light. And again, these companies take these people up in the dark and then bring them down. And I think, gosh, I want to see where I'm going. and also we were very well acclimatized. It was a short area that was remaining.
Are you seeing other groups or other companies passing or going this whole time?
No. That's why I love this company because they chose the final camp and we were the only ones there.
What's the name of the peak?
I'd have to look it up.
Is it Uhuru? Uhuru?
That's those ones that you mentioned, the Uhuru, the Shira, and there's one more that begins with an M. I can't remember what it is. Those are the common ones.
So this was your ascent and yours alone. You weren't sharing with other.
And this company does this purposefully because they've seen too many other companies rushing up and rushing down in the middle of the night and everyone's throwing up. This is an experience and they want you to savor it. And this company is well known on the mountain. We weren't with the masses. And that's why you're paying the big bucks. I hate to say it, but you get what you pay for. We also had the most incredible food. And it was all vegetarian, vegan, because on the mountain, you can't bring up meat and fish because everything you're carrying they're carrying on their back.
It sounds very healthy.
So healthy.
Yes.
So healthy. But some nights you just like, oh, I don't want to eat
So
because you don't have the appetite. But let me
let's
talk
do
you
this
through your
last-
question.
yes,
I'm sorry
yeah.
to
all right.
take you off on a path. So again, hard hats on, ice picks. You've got your backpacks on that you might have your all-weather clothes in, which you're always carrying with you. You're never carrying all your items because that's what the porters are carrying. And you're only allowed 25 or 32 pounds, very limited. So you're wearing the same clothes over and over. Anyway, they don't summit with you. The porters start going down. They don't stay at the last camp with you. They put your tents up and they start going down.
Why?
Because they don't need to summit because we're not going to make camp there. Also, they've got all the waste from all the food and all the things that you've been using as you've been going up. So they start going down, possibly getting ready for the next trip. So off you go. It's very steep. It's very snowy. You don't know where you're putting your feet. You're putting your feet on virgin snow.
But you're driven at this point.
But this stage, you think, I can see it.
Mhm.
And it's this vast.
Now you're looking up.
You're looking up and it's this flat, vast, virgin snow with rocks sticking out of it. The wind is howling. I mean, if I'd had skis, it would have been lovely powder.
Speaking of that elevation you were talking about before,
Yes.
and I'll let you go, is the mood now elevated amongst the five of you?
Yes, we've done this.
How do you know?
How do you know it? Because we're not chitty-chatting so much. All along the way, we're chitty-chatting and we're this and we're that. And then as you reach that final area, all you say is, this is it. This is what I came for. I mean, for me,
How do you feel right now as you say that, as you look at the...
how I feel right now is I don't want to be a drama queen because it wasn't why I came. But when I was at that point, it was like, great, we're almost there. I just wanted to see if I could push my body through this depleted oxygen, using my limbs, using my heart, training my brain that I must focus now. And if you can do that for the, 7 days that it takes to get up and the 2 that it takes to come down, what an achievement to know that I'm able to do that.
So you're 25th, you're 25 feet away. The mood is elevated.
Right.
You're getting excited and you're able to hear people in the wind and everything. Are you talking to each other?
Yes, except we're not really. We're wearing like every piece of clothing we've got. And, over the top of it, we're wearing our rain gear because you wear the rain gear to cut the wind.
From the leader to the fifth person, what's that distance?
Well, we start off together and then it kind of spreads.
So are you able to, as the mood elevates, talk to the others and get excited together, or are you just something you're feeling intangible?
No, you don't want to because you don't want to miss your footing. And also it seems a little superfluous to talk because for some people it's very spiritual. For some people it's a dream of a lifetime. But for me it was a very internal moment. And what am I going to talk about? For me it was, I'm going to keep my feet in the right spot. I'm going to use my ice pick. I'm going to follow his feet. And then when you get towards the top, I'm going to trudge, and you're trudging and you're trudging and you're trudging. And then you get over this little lip where there's no more snow because it's all blown off and the wind is blowing and the flags flying and you see the sign that's there.
There's a sign?
There's a sign
What's
right
it
at the
say?
very top. And it says, I don't know what it is, 19,000 feet, peak of Kilimanjaro or something like that.
Did you cry?
Did I cry? No, I didn't cry.
First thought
was it's a terrible thought. I want to get over there and get my picture taken before everybody else arrives. It was one of those, not that I'm on Instagram or Facebook, but it was one of those moments that I want to capture it to prove, did it prove that I did it? I guess it did. If you don't see it on the picture, you didn't do it. But I wanted to avoid crowds. I wanted to have my moment. I wanted to do the splits.
You earned it.
I know.
You're not
so I did the
apologizing.
splits and I flossed my teeth.
Wait a minute. You said you want to do the splits?
I did the splits. I won't do them here in the office. And I flossed my teeth because I said, I want to be in the Guinness Book of Records for flossing my teeth at 19,000 feet.
And no one else had done that as far as
Not that I know of, but you know what? Did it bring me fame and fortune? No,
No.
but it was because my husband and I were always talking about flossing. So, like all the random
You're
places.
a
I was in the dental profession, yes, but that was many, many moons ago.
So even when you're climbing to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro, you're recommending you keep flossing.
Definitely everywhere you can. Yes, yes. Never stop. Never stop. Well, just floss the teeth you want to keep.
That's such an old one. Okay.
But when I got
so did you join the others, or how long
the
did
others
your
came
moment?
along. The others came along, and then of course all the different groups are coming, and they're all taking pictures. But at that moment, the snow is swirling. You can't even hear each other. It's like being inside a hairdryer. I should imagine that's what it sounds like. The wind was loud, and it is so cold. You really have to have your face covered. You feel kind of your eyeballs freezing, and listening to my fabulous guides. They said, right, this is everyone's got their picture. We're going down.
So how long were you allowed to stay up there?
I mean, we stayed up there, I guess, till everyone had their picture. And then it was probably very small amount of time, maybe maximum 15 minutes, maximum.
So it took you a week to get up there for 15 minutes of dental fame.
If you want to summarize it like that. It was also kind of relief, because you could say right now the rest is just, detail, just going down.
So you said something that I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. It actually takes 2 days to get down?
Yes.
What's the easiest part, going up or coming down?
I find it much better going up because I'm using my quads and I'm going up and I'm navigating and I'm focusing, and there's an end goal. Coming down, you're just going down, and they go down the route that everybody uses. There's a path on the other side of the mountain, and it's just that's really truly relentless, with no prize at the bottom, because you're going down, 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 and my toes were like hitting the ends of my boots, and my knees were going, and it was just, you've been there, you've done that. It was like a rewinding a tape.
So is it strange to have such a massive emotional moment, truly, at the top, and then suddenly it's all done and you have to turn around and walk for 2 days?
Very deflating, but you have to do it. You have to do it. And again, that in itself, I found that more of a challenge, because, I'd used my body and my energy and my might to get to the top, and I'd made it.
Were you tired at that point? Like your body,
No.
Sometimes when we're going through things, your body lets you get away with stuff that when you finally reach it, now you've got to pay back all this.
My body wasn't tired, but I was fed up. I just wanted to get down this boring trail. And then we saw what was even worse, the people who were coming up that trail. That's like the one that they do at night. And they were
going up?
Going up.
They were already tired?
Well, yes, because they're not doing what we did, which was the sort of the zigzag thing where you go up and you come down. You go up and you come down, and you do it properly.
What do you say when someone's coming past you? Hang in there? Or?
No, I mean, you just say, oh, you just don't say anything, because they don't want to talk to you. They don't want to look at you. They're just, and you're busy going dong, 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 going down, 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 down. It's bone rattling going down. And
it's fast?
It's fast. I mean, I ended up running
with ice and snow.
Well, no. I remember, as you go down, you're going through the different terrains.
Are you throwing clothes off as you go down?
Yes, it gets hot, and you end up in a t-shirt, and if you wear shorts or whatever. I mean, I particularly keep covered because I don't want to be in the sun. But yeah, as you're going down, everything changes. Yeah, everything changes completely, and you just go woo, 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 and you just get down. And so we stopped at one point, and then we camped, and there were 1 million people there. This company makes it an incredible journey going up, but going down, they're not going to go the same route. There's no point.
They've done their job.
They've done their job. Yeah. They've got you up there. And don't forget, as you go down, you're getting more oxygen, so you've got more energy. Your appetite comes back. You can stop taking the altitude tablets. You're home.
When you get to the bottom, how long a time between that point and getting on the airplane back home?
Very quick turnaround. Very, very quick turnaround.
Why?
Because there's no point in dilly-dallying. You literally, you feel this great sense, and you're like sweaty and you're happy, and the truck picks you up. You give everything to the porters. You say your goodbyes. you promise that you're going to keep in touch. And
Do you?
no,
You
I
want
mean,
to,
you
but
know, you sort of, your heart is there, and then you're, you know, but you know, once you get back to terra firma and you're back home again,
Mhm.
life carries on, and they're off with the next tour group, you
So
know.
you're on the plane
And
back
you're on
home.
the plane that you sleep a night there. Oh, I know I remember. They put you in a fancy hotel. That's when we saw the Starbucks coffee plantation. So they drive you into Arusha. They take you out of like
Did you say Arusha is the capital of
yes,
Tanzania?
exactly.
Okay.
So initially you're in the state park, which is beautiful, Tanzania State Park. It's gorgeous. And then they drive you to the city and they put you in a very fancy hotel where you actually have a shower
Mm.
for the first time, and you can do your hair and your makeup and begin to, you know, climb out of your little cocoon back into the world again. And you
Can you
sleep.
feel that? Like
Yeah.
it was a cocoon and now I'm back almost like there's a wall
Yeah.
and now you're into this place. And you see it.
I was happy to wash my hair and kind of be human again, but I wasn't happy in another way because I love roughing it, if you like.
Mhm.
It's my happiest place.
And you don't have to worry that.
I love sleeping outdoors.
Yeah.
I don't need all the pampering.
But could you see the door opening to this strange, superfluous, vacuous world that
when
we
I
live
went into
in?
this bedroom in this hotel, and there's a shower and there's soap and there's towels and I mean, they even put like rose petals on the bed. I'm like, I don't need this. And I'm thinking to the main thing that struck me was the dichotomy between the poverty of the country and the fact that they're pampering me. And that sort of bothered me. I mean, if I could sleep in the open, you know, I don't need indoor plumbing. I mean, it's just my happy place is, you know, waking up and hearing nature. And then all of a sudden I realized I got to go back again.
Who met you at the Jacksonville airport?
My husband.
Who was there?
Yeah,
The family
always.
or just
No, just him. Just him.
Dr.
You know,
Lee?
our kids are all grown up, and you know, I told him when I was coming in, and of course, again, you're very confused because you've sort of lost 2 days coming back, you know, and you've gone through so many different changes and different airlines.
So you
and
saw
different
him
countries.
coming off the plane.
And he was there, and he said, "Well done," and I came
You have
home.
a big sign saying Lee?
Well, no, that was going out. I got that treatment. Yes. And it was fabulous. And it was
What's the first thing you said to him?
I didn't, I mean, I missed him, but I didn't really miss him because I was so happy. But also I mean, I just think we're very practical. You know, I didn't sort of fall into his arms and say, "Oh, I'm still alive." No. You know, we just got back into the tumult of life and our 4 beautiful children and our grandchildren. And it was December and I don't remember what our next plans were, but I was going to work and he was going to work. And we just, you know, got our feet back on the ground again.
What did that mountain teach you that you didn't know before you made that trip? And did you keep that lesson?
I think the power of the human body, what we can achieve, the God-given gift that we've been given, and that we should never let it go. We should cherish every day with our physicality, that we should take on things that perhaps we've been told are, oh no, you shouldn't, you should, you know, not you. Mental agility, that we have the power to go long and go strong and concentrate. Everything should not be in sound bites. And we had no phone, which was fabulous.
Was there anything you'd add to what you just said, if you will, that you'd say to a woman as opposed to a man?
Oh, no. I think the women have more staying power. I mean, we go through 9 months of pregnancy if we choose that. We grow up the children if we choose that. But I would say that as a human being, as a Homo sapien, with whatever the gender, whatever the sex, I believe that all of us have the ability to do several things. And one of those things is use your physicality as long as you can and push yourself beyond safely what you can do. Mentally, the agility to do whatever we choose to do. If you don't use it, you lose it. And I don't think that I think age, I know it's very corny, is just a number. I think that age shouldn't come into anything. Just because I'm on Medicare or because I have grandchildren, all the more so, we need to stay strong for them. We need to stay powerful. And the biggest thing, going back to the word of trust, is trust the one who's the professional. If you go into a doctor's office, don't tell them what they need to do. They've done the training. If you're climbing a mountain, don't tell the guide what he needs to do. They've done the training. In any profession, if I have problems with the law, I trust the lawyer. And I think that those are the circumstances. Friends can come and go.
Hmm.
And that's something that I've learned as well. Don't put all your trust in one friend. You know, there's a poem by Rudyard Kipling, and it's called If. One of his lines is, you know, love your friends, but do not put all your trust in them. And everyone should read the poem by Rudyard Kipling called If. Rudyard Kipling being the author of, probably, you know, Jungle Book.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He's an African.
Yeah, same guy.
Yeah.
And those lines, when I came back from my trip and I showed my students, obviously my trip to Kilimanjaro is not on their curriculum, but I thought it might interest them, which it did. But I led that into the teaching of the poem If by Rudyard Kipling.
I think you're discounting your ability in that maybe those students and kids won't tell you what they're really thinking half the time, but they said, well, if she's doing it, maybe one of them you touched in a way that said, I can do this, or I can overcome
100%. No, that was my lesson. Because again, you know, we teach to a curriculum, we teach to the standards. But I said, do you believe that little old Mrs. Lee can do this? Before I went, you know, and they went, well, you know, I said, trust in your abilities. And I think that was the key. And that year I got the best results I've ever had with the testing, with the FSA testing, because I've never passed anything. I'm no good at reading. I said, you are. You're good at, if you want it, you can do it.
Little old Miss Lee, I want to thank you for being such a big presence and with a great big story. And I thank you very much for coming in.
Yeah, and thank you for letting me,
you did great.
Tell.
Thank you. Thank you very much.